Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the February 26, 2018-19, we're in 19, UW Echo in Secondary Transitions. My name is Wendy Warren, and I will be your facilitator for today's session. So we are thrilled to have Christine Johnson with us from ExploreWork. Again, this network is really about providing you with resources and strategies and lots of different ways to work with the children you're working with in the school districts, or maybe clients with DVR. So this is yet another resource that we are really excited about, that our Access Employment team has been using and checking out, and they think it's great. So this is just another tool to add to your tool bag, and we can't wait to hear more from Christine. Christine, I'm going to let you tell individuals a little bit more about yourself and give them any information you think would be helpful prior to the presentation.
Well, I guess let me set the record straight. I'm actually, I'm not from the ExploreWork folks. I'm actually with the WindTech, which is the Workforce Innovation and Technical Assistance Center. It's a federal grant. And it's funded by the Rehabilitation Services Administration to provide guidance to state VR agencies and partners about the law WIOA, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. And so the WindTech Center actually gives technical assistance about different key areas under the law, and I'm actually employed through George Washington University, and I focus exclusively on the pre-employment transition services. So myself and a couple of my colleagues, that's all we have the pleasure of doing, is living, eating, and breathing everything pre-employment transition services. So in kind of how this came about is when we're helping states, we said, geez, we had so many states similar to Wyoming that have very rural areas, and kind of saying, how can we help deliver pre-employment transition services to students with disabilities when there's maybe a school that only has one kid, or an area, region that just has a few, and how do you get services out there? So we partnered with the University of Wisconsin, Stout, and a organization called ERI, and had them develop the ExploreWork.com modules. And so that's what I'm going to be able to show you and talk about with you today. But I'm just going to kind of touch on some of the key pieces about ExploreWork and how it might be able to help you with the students that you work with. So this is kind of just who I am again, working through the WindTech Technical Assistance Center, all things pre-employment transition services. So today I'm going to introduce ExploreWork.com. I'm going to highlight some of the basic navigation and how students can access the modules. We'll take a brief tour, and kind of maybe I'll have a few options for engaging and tracking the students' progress, and hopefully we will also have some dialogue about how you think you might be able to use this. So what exactly is ExploreWork.com? It's really an online, very interactive tool that helps deliver the 5 required pre-employment transition services to students with disabilities. And I have a slide in here that kind of tells you what the 5 required services are. Like I said, we kind of came up with this as a way to help states that have very rural or sparsely populated areas look at how they could deliver kind of a online service for the students with disabilities to get this. But, you know, we also wanted to make sure that this was something that kids like to do, that it was engaging, and that they'd want to do it. And I think we've accomplished that. I know to date, I think we have at least 1,500 users, and this just kind of rolled out for use in December of 2018. So really about 3.5 months, maybe. We have, I think, almost every state is using it, whether it's just a couple of schools, whether it's VR counselors, whether it's parents helping with their students. So anyway, let's take a look here and see. So the purpose, again, was to motivate students towards achievement and taking action, helping them look at understanding that link between their choices or goals that in high school and post-secondary ed and education and training and employment. So kind of making those connections. It's a hands-on, interactive website. So there's activities that engage students in the career planning, and it helps, it guides teachers, professionals, and parents through the activities to help support those students so that these kids can discover maybe talents, something they're interested in, and maybe they start thinking, wow, okay, let me look at getting this kind of job, or let me look at what it might take to go to college to get this job or a training program. Again, it's very interactive. They're online modules. I can start a module today and then it's dinner time, so I can stop and then come back tomorrow. It's developed especially for those students with disabilities to explore the world of work and help them look at maybe who they are and what they're good at, and coming up with some blueprints or templates they can use to guide their future. It allows state VR agencies to use a distance learning format as one method in order to deliver the 5 required pre-employment transition services. And when I talk about delivering the 5 required, the law requires that State VR set aside 15% of their federal allotment to deliver pre-employment transition services to students with disabilities statewide who need these services. And I'm not going to get into too much of the actual law, but this is a big deal for VR. This is the first time, you know, there's this real focus with a fiscal component, with the money tied to working with students with disabilities. Now, this is a new slide that I put in because the last time I presented this, I had someone ask, how much does this cost? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell everyone. It's free. So the best thing ever, right? You don't have to pay for this. It is free for anyone to use. The next best thing is that this is a totally accessible website. We worked very hard. The ERI team that developed this, we let them know up front, it has to be as accessible as possible. We had them test and actually have people with disabilities review the modules and the links and everything else so that it could be used with screen magnifiers, speech recognition, and that unfortunately any activities that take you to another website, you know, they did check and try to make sure that they chose websites or materials that were as accessible as possible, but you know, you can't be 100% guaranteed on that. What is so exciting, and I didn't know how to change the little guy in the corner that's saying coming soon. Actually, it's live right now. I think last week I gave this presentation to some parents, and I think like within a day, ERI emailed those of us at the WindTech and said, oh, we finished all the Spanish translation and such. So the modules, the videos, and the website are now available in Spanish. So that is a great feature. We're very happy that we've gotten that taken care of. So ExploreWork is where students can explore one or more or all of the 5 different modules, helping them to discover their interest and talents, understand and look at different options that they may have for education and training, experience a variety of jobs, and learn about self-advocacy and what other skills they need in order to have success at work and at school. So when you go to the ExploreWork website, the 5 modules are named Career Planning and Job Exploration, Your First Work Experiences, School Beyond High School, Workplace Readiness, and Self-Advocacy. So students have 2 different ways they can navigate the website in order to explore work. They have option 1, which is a guided learning. So what does that mean? It's where they can create their own profile on the website. They put in their name, an email address, and then there's other info to track their progress, and they can print a certificate every time they finished a module or an area. Option 2 is self-guided learning. So they can just jump on the website anytime and start exploring things. So I'm going to show you some screenshots of what some of those options look like. So again, what you see on the screen now is actual homepage. And there's different ways you can select the training from the top menu bar, or you can go down the page and there you'll see the 5 modules, or you go all the way down at the bottom and there's a little thing that says, yes, I'm ready to explore. So there's some different ways that kids can actually start. And so when you hit explore your options, these are the 5 modules. So you would, you want to go to workplace readiness, you'd say get skills for work, and it'll take you through that. So again, let's say that the student is going to choose the guided learning. They will create a profile, complete the courses and the activities in the module, whether it's 1 or all 5 of them. They'll receive an email about the results of their activities or what they learned. They can actually share those results with the teacher or a parent or, a VR counselor. So they'll get little certificates when they finish, and then if they finish everything, they get a transcript that shows, okay, Christine finished this module, these activities. So if a student chooses that self-guided, that's somebody who's, can do things on their own. They don't have to create a profile, although at any time they can go back in and do that if they want to. This might be good if a student is already kind of self-driven, self-motivated, or if they are already maybe receiving pre-employment transition services through another provider. And this is just a supplement, kind of what they're learning. So this is what the registration page looks like. They put in their name, they need an email. So we have seen that many of the students are using there's a school email. Others are just getting a Gmail account because that's free. Gmail is free. There's other options that are free. So they go through this registration, and when they're doing this, this page shows you, okay, would you like to let someone else know you signed up for this training? A teacher, counselor, parent, or friend? So yes, you can go ahead and enter that person's email, and then you confirm it. So as the student completes things, then this person that they shared it with gets an email that says, hey, Christine just finished this activity. Christine just finished workplace readiness, and and here's what she got. And then they get the confirmation telling them how to log in. And if they forget, that's okay, because it says at the top, log in. All right. So actually kids find it pretty easy to figure this out. It's those of us that are older that sometimes have trouble. But now let's look at how the ExploreWork website aligns with the 5 required pre-employment transition services. So here's that part of the regulation, part of the law at 361.48A2 that talks about what are those 5 required activities. So the first one is job exploration counseling. The second is work-based learning experiences. The third is counseling on opportunities for enrollment in comprehensive transition or post-secondary ed at institutions of higher education. Fourth is workplace readiness training. And then the 5th is that instruction in self-advocacy. So let's look at how they actually align. So if you remember, I showed you a screen a little bit earlier that said, here's the 5 ExploreWork modules. So the career planning and job exploration aligns with job exploration counseling. So you can see when a student goes into this module, they are doing some self-reflection activity, they're watching a video, there's a quiz, they do some activities about finding their strengths, there's a career scavenger hunt, and there's next steps. And, you know, someone asked, well, how long does this take? When you start and choose a module, it tells you about how long it can take you, but everyone's different. So if you sat down from, say, start to finish and you're a fast reader, maybe it takes you an hour. For some students, it might take longer. There's no time. It's not like, oh, I only have 1 week to finish this. No, you can start and stop according to your needs and your pace. So this is just a screenshot of this career scavenger hunt and kind of like, what's your next move going to be? What do you want to do for a living? So it's bright, it's colorful, and it captures their attention. Now, what you see here is the feedback. So actually, this is a screenshot. I went in and registered and doing the module, and I created the Career One-Stop Survey in my journal activity, and it showed me, this email is telling me what courses may be, careers may be a good fit for me. So it's kind of a nice feedback. If I designated a parent or somebody, a friend, to get this results, they would get an email that says, hey, Christine just finished completing the online Career One-Stop Survey, and et cetera. So that's kind of some of the additional feedback and follow-up that comes with this. Work experiences. So it aligns with work-based learning. In this module, there's a video, there's discovering different types of work experiences, and getting to take a quiz and try to help the individual figure out, hey, do I need a work experience? Do I want a work experience? What kind do I want? And again, a screenshot that again says this was my coworker who signed up and did this also. So she chose volunteering. So this is telling her, hey, how you might get started. Here's some tips, and here are some resources. School Beyond High School aligns with the counseling on opportunities for enrollment and comprehensive transition. So again, it's an interactive thing with videos, surveys, quiz, and kind of a journal, writing down what you thought about the activities. Workplace readiness training aligns with workplace readiness training. The next area, this just shows picking a skill activity. So when you picked on maybe communication, you went through a whole series of screens that talk about different types of communication, verbal as well as nonverbal. And self-advocacy aligns with the self-advocacy. In putting together these modules, we did have this reviewed by the Rehabilitation Services Administration, RSA, the federal funders of our WindTech grant. And, you know, they confirmed that this was in line with the regulations. So we feel pretty confident that you can use these with students and be able to provide pre-employment transition services. And as always, these kinds of modules are just designed to provide students with materials for each of those 5 required pre-employment transition services. And for some kids, this is all they need. But for others, it may just be that first step they start taking to build that foundation. So maybe they do some of these modules and then in the next semester or during the summer, they say, you know, I want to try a work-based, I want to actually try to work. And so maybe the VR counselor or the school help to set up that first work experience for the student because they got some information from this. But it's just like anything else. These modules might not be right for everyone. It's a tool, and it's a great online tool that you can keep in your back pocket for serving these students. So really helping these kids focus on abilities and exploring what might be something that they want to further engage in, sparking their interest. Sometimes it helps kids either stay engaged or re-engage with school because they can see that, oh, okay, there's something to this. I can get a job. I didn't know people did, you know, quantum physics, or this is what's behind making up a video game. I hear a lot of, even to this day, just had another state say they have a lot of kids wanting to find out about how to do video games, how to make them, how to produce them. So again, this is a way to help kids kind of start to explore what it really takes to do that. So some of the ways that you might be able to use these modules with students is to determine, first of all, whether they can do it on their own, whether you're going to help them do that guided learning option, if you're going to let them, if they will share with you the results as they go through it. You can track their progress and completion when you get that email. One way that you can use these modules to supplement maybe other things that are happening either through school or other providers an example is to coordinate a module section with a school or a local community activity. So as an example, I say, you know, there's an open house for your local fire department on Friday or Saturday. So maybe you go to the module that says your first work experience and have the student go through that and maybe develop some questions that they can use to conduct a 5-minute informational interview with the firefighter during that open house at the fire department. So, you know, kind of be creative, come up with ways that the kids can take some of this and maybe go out and actually do an activity out in the community. Again, here is ExploreWork. That link is a live link. I think even in your PDF, you should be able to go straight to the website. But if not, there are the website and the WindTech Technical Assistance Center, where if you want to learn more about how we help states and what kind of assistance we offer, it's there. And my contact information, feel free to reach out to me with any questions after this presentation. One thing I will share is that I'll give you an example. In the state of Virginia, the counselors and teachers are starting to use ExploreWork, and they are using this. They love it. It provides a really good structure. It's engaging to the students. They're using these in small groups of students so that you can do it one-on-one with the student, but you can do it in groups. It's helping, actually, kids are getting their parents to actually help, and so they'll go home and say, oh, look what I learned today. We're doing this. And so the parents are actually getting involved, and that's really kind of exciting. So now, one thing that I can tell you is that so I go to training topics, and it should take me down to here. As a student or as a parent or just anybody on this site, let's say I start going into the workplace readiness. When I'm in a module or an activity, so there's some places you do have to sit, when you're participating in the module, you will have to, it tells you, I think you get a little option that says save your work. And if you don't hit save your work, it doesn't get saved. So a student might have to go back in and do it again. But in this particular activity, it's it's the first one. So I'm putting my name and email, and this is like my self-assessment of myself. And then at the end of this module, I'm going to do another self-assessment to kind of see what did I learn. I also can tell you when I was doing the self-advocacy, I'll bring it up. I'll see if it shows. When I got follow-up emails, it told me things based on my age that I needed to look at. So if I was like 18 and about to graduate, or as I'm nearing graduation, it gave me some things I needed to think about, like, hey, you're going to be leaving school before you know it. Here's some things you need to start looking at now in order to be prepared for when you leave school. And it was very, very helpful. I can see that this would be good to share, with parents, or that a student could take some of this and when they're at their IEP meetings, even say, I know I'm going to graduate and I know I need to look at how to manage my benefits. So, what are my choices? Can you help me do that? So it helps the kids engage in their future.
So speaking of ages, I just have a quick question. My opinion is that we should always start working with kids as soon as we can and having them look at these kinds of things. Mm-hmm. Is an age range specifically, or 13, 14, is that okay to start working with this and looking at it? Well, technically, these are free. So, a parent could work with any child of any age or any. If you're talking about the pre-employment transition services that VR is required to provide, the age range is going to be up to each state, and it actually aligns with IDEA in the state. So however that's defined, it gets a little, I'm probably getting too technical, but each state will have their own age range according to their coordination with their state Department of Education. Now if let's say in Wyoming, the age range is 16 to 21 under IDEA, but the VR agency can decide where we're going to serve kids younger. So we'll serve them 14 to 21. So that varies from state to state. Michigan is like one of the few states in the country that serves kids up through 26. Right. To 26. So they're like 14 to 26. So it depends. But generally, these are free. So if I could sit with my grandkids who are like 8, 9, and 10, and we could do some of these things that might be appropriate. Now, maybe they wouldn't have the reading level. It's not a real high reading level. Again, these aren't going to be modules for
to meet every need of every kid. So which, if somebody has a lower reading level, you might want to choose that guided learning where they sign up with an email, and then maybe a teacher or a parent or a provider or counselor sits with them and helps, go through these modules.
I really like the idea that this one really was specifically designed with students with disabilities in mind. And, I think these are just great options to have for the diverse group of students we work with in the state. And you guys have tested it out, and it's very accessible as well. So,
Yes.
Sometimes some of the programs are not designed with those children in mind. So this is really nice that this one was created specifically for students with disabilities, and it's very user-friendly. The graphics are great. They're inviting. So lots of wonderful things about this program.